Hello and welcome to another plant video. This one's a bit special because it will be a video before the holidays. It's the festive season here now, and in the coming 4 days there are a lot of festivals and I may be a bit out of action. Also because I'm keeping a bit unwell, and I think it'll be a good time for me to rest now. And I'll really be putting all my efforts to make this video today because I'm quite unwell. But I also think if I do these tasks today, the chores today, the plants will also get a good time in between to recuperate from the changes the plants will go through. So there's lots of repotting, some moss poles to be put, some corms to be planted into pond and things like those, which of course the plant will need time to establish with after I do those things. So that's what I want to do today. It is also a bit more special today because I am now at 975 subscribers. I hope it remains by the time this video is going live. But yes, it's a good number to reach from nothing. When I started the channel, I had 8 subscribers and I didn't know who those 8 people were also. But now I have 975 subscribers. I'll be soon 1,000 subscribers, which means a lot to me. I've made over 300 plant videos, and that's quite a task, I would say. And I'm so happy that I get to engage with some of you and I get to interact and I get to talk with you guys. At times I get DMs from so many of you, which means a lot to me. It really makes up for all the effort that goes into making the videos when I get a comment from you guys or a DM from you guys saying how good the videos are and that you enjoy watching them. So I hope that keeps up. And with that little note, let's get into today's video. Okay, so there's been like a lot of new stuff, a lot of mess inside and on top of the cabinet, as you can see. I have not been able to keep up with the growing collection. I have, of course, added a few new plants like the Alocasia Frideck. I did a video recently, and my Philodendron melanochrysum here. Yeah, there we go. So a lot of new plants, and I tried to kind of do the setup again. I hung my palladiflorum there. My anthurium is now hanging from the top of the cabinet, and even the lower shelf I have made quite a few modifications. But having said everything, there's still a lot to be done, and I kind of want to redo everything again maybe, because I need to put a moss pole on my very popular now varicosum. I've been getting messages from so many of you telling me how it shouldn't have been the case that I got this plant in such a poor condition from the seller. But nevertheless, I want to put a moss pole today onto it. So that will require some changes to be done. Maybe some plants will be taken out of the cabinet for that reason. The top there is a temporary situation. I couldn't find a good spot for my marble queen pothos, but I don't like the height of it. That pot is just too tall and I don't like it. And I have a few containers here which I will be using for putting in my Jacqueline corms, which are here. They've been ready from a long time to be going into a different medium now. I think they're the right size. And then I have a lot of new leaf updates which I want to take you guys through. So let's get into it. So just gonna start with what seems like an easier task. Oh, by the way, the cars are my partner's. He has placed a lot of his cars in the cabinet because he thought it'd be a good idea. But so just a thought on that. But okay, starting with my Alocasia Jacqueline corms, I think they are more than ready now to be planted or to be done something with. And actually, on that note, that's my other Alocasia Jacqueline. Let me just take it there in a better light so I can show it to you guys. Okay, so if you recollect from one of my previous videos, I had put my 2 Alocasia Jacqueline corms, which were about this size back then, into pond, and this has been doing quite well. There's a new leaf, as you can see, ready out there, and these are new leaves as well, and they are kind of now in a very decent size. I think the plant is doing really well, so I can definitely testify the statement that pond is the best thing for alocasias. I will actually also show something else right now. Okay, so what I want to show next is really important to me because it's my, finally we have a leaf on my Alocasia black velvet. after I shifted it to pond, of course. And I think it's the most beautiful leaf, and this is the most favorite plant that I have in the entire of my collection, the whole of my collection. This is the most favorite plant that I have, and it had just gone through a bit of a stem rot, and there was nothing. This thing was gone. There was just a little stump, and I was chatting with a few people, and then I decided to check on the plant because it felt like it's pushing out a leaf, but it would not do anything. And luckily, I checked the plant, and it was not doing well. I put it in pond, and with very less water actually in the reservoir this time. I maintained less water and put it in maximum humidity inside the cabinet, and now I have the most beautiful leaf. It just feels so beautiful. It's like the perfect velvet texture. The color will still darken. It's still gonna become more darker like the black velvet is supposed to be. And I was so afraid because I have only one black velvet now, which is this one, my original plant. And I had ordered one more black velvet earlier. It didn't survive at all. The corms didn't survive. Nothing survived, and this is all I have. There was one more corm of the plant which didn't make it, so that I used to just put it in soil when I was a beginner with this stuff with corms, but now it works. And with that, I also want to show my Alocasia Jacqueline, the mother plant of these babies and these babies. So this plant here has been restarted at least 4 times from nothing, from scratch. Even this leaf came from scratch, and yeah, that's the leaf now. It's pretty decent. For now, there are no spider mites. This one always gets it, and so it's been doing well. I had got 12 corms from it, out of which there are 6 here and 2 here, 8. So 4 didn't make it, I think. And I also want to show my Alocasia mycologiana corm. It's doing really well. The leaves are really growing in size now, and that's why I say that pond works the best. This has spider mites on the back. Let me show it just to capture it. So you see the black spots there, that's all spider mites. So okay, this can be one of the chores I do today. So we will be taking this directly into the sink for spider mites treatment. While I'm at it, I'll treat this also just as a preventive thing. It doesn't need it, but I will. And maybe this I will not, because the leaf is still hardening. So I'm just going to take it back. I just wanted to show the update and capture it here. And what we want to start with now is to shift these guys into pond. Okay, so this is my pond, the washed up pond. And unfortunately, I have only this much left. And I have a lot of plants here. And I was thinking these could be the containers in which I can directly this time place the pond. So no reservoir, but because the plants are too small, so I'm okay to not have a container inside this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that way. But I have very little substrate here. So I just want to test how many plants can I put in this. Let me just check. So I guess I can only fill up maybe 2 out of the 3. Some old roots. I am reusing this pond from an earlier plant. So there are some roots, which is fine. Okay, so I have very little pond left. So that's fine. I am going to try and see if I can keep the plants within these 2 containers only. So just gonna take this back there and just gonna start removing these. I need a tool. Okay, so just gonna use this little tool to help me safely get the plants out. The chances are that all of these are entangled with each other. So there was perlite and sphagnum moss. It worked beautifully for me in the past as well. So that's a little island of Alocasia Corms. Oops. So let's see if we can separate these out easily. So how cool is that? I have 7 babies of Jacqueline. Now the tough task is to get the sphagnum moss out. Okay, so I'm back. I have gone and washed all the corms, and now I'm just gonna club those smaller ones together, I guess, in one of the pots because they have lesser roots. So I'm gonna club these 4 together and I'll have these 3 together. I'm sure some may feel that again, like last time when I did this, the roots aren't developed enough for me to be doing this, but I have to because it wasn't really doing that well here because a lot of corms were pushing out leaves and drying up, so I know they needed more space. Just filling the bottom a bit. So that's my pawn island number 1. So that's how this one is looking. Going for the second one. That's my second container. So I have now got 2 containers, 4 plants here, 3 plants here. I do not advise doing it this way at all. If you're going to watch this video to attempt to do this, that's not what I want to be doing. There should be a better like a container situation, like not like this, but I know I'm going to be personally monitoring them daily, the water, because since it's closed, the water will remain, the roots will be in water, and I'll have to kind of judge every now and then and see how much water I want there to be. Like in this one, there are a few holes here from where it percolates the wicks the water in the pond above. So I'm gonna try and do that manually here. So just gonna add water almost drop by drop so that I don't overwater this. Just going to maintain a layer in the bottom. I show it in this one. The idea is to first wet the pond and then making sure that there's a little base reservoir in the bottom. We could have made the pond wet before as well. That would be the other way of doing this, but for the ease of everything, I chose it to be dry. Okay, I'm fine with this. So these are ready. Task 1 is done. Okay, so the next thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go and give a spider mites treatment to some of my plants which have spider mites. Let's go do that. So I prepared the spider mites solution this morning. It got over and I've prepared it again. And I sprayed one of my plants, which was the Synapsis silver. And now let's get into these guys. Okay, so I've also got my Alocasia deck. I have been meaning to do a treatment on this since it came. Also just updating how the white part of it is kind of going all yellow. Even this leaf is kind of getting yellow for some reason. But this beautiful leaf is perfectly fine. And I also have got my Alocasia. I've been meaning to give it a spray as well after getting it brand new. I didn't have the treatment with me, so I couldn't, like, it got over, so I couldn't do it, but I'm going to do it now. I have a lot of plants which have right now spider mites, but just going to do them one by one. There is a new leaf coming here and I try and avoid spraying on new leaves, or I make sure they're utterly dried with the treatment before I keep it into the grow lights, or they will get burnt for sure. So you must make sure that if you're doing a spider mites treatment, the plant should be completely dried before you take it back into grow light or daylight. The next bit is now to add a moss pole and to repot my Philodendron verrucosum. There's a whole unboxing I've done of this plant and why is it in the condition that it is. Like I said, it looks like it's been in a blender, but I need to repot it now because if you see this new growth it came with, like a growth point, it's been pushing out these aerial roots in all the directions, and I'm not sure if this leaf will even open up, but I think it's a good time for me to repot it. High chances this leaf won't unfold, but nevertheless, got to keep going on. I have an old pot, old container with holes that I've made on it, some now, some from before. I would have loved to have a proper pot for this one, but I don't have it right now. And I have this mossful sheet, the one I've reviewed a couple of days back. And I must say this one is actually really good. My medium is doing really nice. There's a video on this one. And honestly, the moss pole remains moist for such a long time. It's quite surprising. So I'm going to use this moss pole sheet for this plant. Just going to prepare it real quickly. Okay, so here we go. That's how it is. It's a pretty big one. I think the arrow is pointing downwards, so I'm going to put this side down. Last time I think I put it the other way, so it doesn't make a difference, but that's how the whole arrangement is. I'm going to add some lacquer balls at the bottom here, and I will go get my sphagnum moss as well. Okay, so this is the sphagnum moss. I soaked it in the morning. I'm learning, guys. I would not do this like until now. I would not soak it and I would just start using it straight away. But this time I want to do that. So what I was doing is adding lacquer balls to the bottom of the moss pole, because we don't want the soil to be touching the sphagnum moss. So this is how the arrangement is. I have like a ball still here, and I think I can put a few more. So that's fine. And I didn't add the sphagnum moss yet into the pole, which I can do from the top now. Usually I would have laid it down and put in from there. That's okay. I don't want the sphagnum moss to be too compact. I want it to be loose and fluffy. So that the roots have a way to go into it. Alright, I think good for now. Made such a mess today. So I'm left with a lot of it now, which is a good thing. Now I'm going to unpot this. I had added this little stake when I got the plant because it was all droopy, so I'm going to remove that now. I just hope this leaf unfurls. If it does, I'll consider myself lucky. Okay. So not gonna disturb things much. It's got fine roots. It's fine. Just gonna figure how I want to face the plant. I think I'll go this way. Also going to add some basil coat granules because don't want to be disturbing this plant much later. Should be able to just water it, cover that with soil. Okay, so here we go. I have put a little rope here to make sure the roots are touching the moss here and it's in the center. So that's how it's looking. Looks good. I'll water it in a bit. All right, so that brings me to my last chore for today, which was in my mind to be done, which was to repot my Monstera Thai constellation. It has not been doing well at all. And I think the problem is here. The problem is this soil. This is a normal red soil and it keeps drying up. And this has been trying to push a leaf since months now. And there were 2 more leaves which have fallen off. And the state of these leaves isn't good. And I just know it that it's not doing well. So I want to unpot it and I want to repot it. And I have some soil left here. I just want to unpot this. I have a slightly bad feeling about things here, but let's see. Yeah, so there is root. Oh my god, I hate it so much. The net pot. This has a freaking net pot, and now there's root rot. This is just so pathetic. I hate it. I just hate it so much. There's so much root rot here. It was always trying to push out new roots on the top, but something was going on, and it is this freaking net pot. What the hell? Why can't the nurseries just tell us that there is a netting pot and we need to go home and repot the plant? I have lost so many plants because of this reason, and it had nothing in it. Like, this had no roots whatsoever. Oh god. So this was just suffocating the plant. I'm so happy I unpotted it. And that's what we are working with. I'm just gonna go wash this and come. And I think we'll throw the soil. Okay, so this is what we are working with. I have washed my Monstera Thicon and these are the roots. And they're good. They're nice roots. So I have a couple of things I can do with it. I can put this in sphagnum moss. I can put this in leca. I can put this in soil. And I think I'm going to put it in soil. I have lots of containers here, depending. I got all sizes depending on what may be the situation. But I think, I don't know which one to go for. I think I'm going to go for this one only because I used to have, I had my Alocasia mycologiana long ago in this, or I thought I used to have a Monstera normal one in this and I did well. So I think I'm going to use this pot. It's a bit crowded, but I think because Monsteras like to have like crowded places, so it's okay. Are these holes enough? Think so. I'm going to put some leca in the bottom just to maintain some circulation. And here is my soil. Don't know if I did a okay job on this one. I'm just too tired now, but I think it's okay. And what happened behind the scenes is I dropped this whole painting right from the top onto the floor, and now I have more mess to clear. So I wanted to show this leaf. I've got a new leaf on my Hoya Wilbur graves, and that is such an achievement. I feel this is the first leaf this plant has pushed out, and that's after I put it in perlite for propagation and developing roots, which it is actually doing quite well. You can see roots in it. At some point we should be repotting this. So I need to water this and this. I'm just going to also water my Anthurium Pap Raven's Heart and my Anthurium Queen. They're quite dry. Alright, here we are. I've got this beautiful paper lantern, like a Japanese. Is it Japanese or is it Chinese? I think it's Japanese kind of a lantern, hanging there for the festival season. I have placed my plants differently now. I've got my Alocasia Friday here. I've got the Melanochrysum there. And I've hung my queen on top of that moss pole there. So she's just hanging on that moss pole with Varicosum behind there. Let me actually just open this. So that's the new setup. This is something new that I'm trying, where I've kept this pot directly here, and this plant is here, string of hearts, old splendid, and my Palladiflorum is hanging there, and rest of the plants are the way they are. So that's Hoya Wilbur Graves, my El Choco Red, my Black Velvet getting a new spot, the two Anthuriums behind there, third one here, my SP Columbia here, and my Alocasias here where it was, Jacqueline and Michaeladiana, and I think now I'm just left with one plant which will go here, which is my Totem. I'm not keeping it right now because I've just done a spider mites treatment on it, so I can't place it until it dries off, but that's going to go somewhere there, or I may have to rethink a few things again. And I've gotten rid of that marble queen pothos on the top. And I totally forgot to place my Jacqueline in there, so just gonna do that and come. Okay, I'm back. This was the longest set of chores I have done ever. I think it's been 2 hours I've been at it, and that too when I'm unwell. But I did a lot. So we did Alocasia Corms, we did spider mites treatment, we did moss pull for varicosum, and we repotted my Monstera Thicon. These were actually all the things I wanted to do, and I did clean and rearrange the top shelf, which was not in the books, but I did it. I would have loved to do the bottom one because that's even more messier, but not today. But thank you so much if you watched this video till the end. It means a lot. Every view counts, every subscriber counts. Thank you so much. If you choose to decide and watch my videos, it means really a lot to me. And I hope you watch the next one, and I'll see you next time. Bye.